Right, hello. Let's do a look at some of the hardy palms in the ground, sort of midsummer, how they doing and what they looking like. So when I say hardy palms, I mean hardy to the UK, bulletproof palms. So here is a small Trachycarpus fortunei. Well, that's what it's sold to me as, but to me it's got quite a wide leaf form on that, so could be, I know you do get a lot of variation with the leaves, but that do seem quite wide for fortunei. I'm hoping it could be a Latticus or something like that. But anyway, so yeah, that's a small one that went into the ground last autumn. It's kicking out, it's opened up this frond and it's kicking out 2 new fronds there, so that's doing well. Right, slightly bigger Trachycarpus fortunei. Again, this has got a slight variation compared to most of my others because it's got quite a whitish underside. That's pushed out at least 4 or 5 fronds this year and still pushing. So again, no need to protect these palms at all. They're totally hardy in the UK climate in most places. So we give them a bit of feed in the spring, chicken manure pellets, and I'll give them the odd feed of liquid seaweed or something like that. But they don't need much fertilising, to be fair, if you've got decent soil. They kind of look after themselves. So that's doing really well. And in front of that we've got a little waggy. So this has been in the ground since last autumn again. And this has pushed out this big frond. And it's got another one coming here. So the waggy, or Trachycarpus wagnerianus, is the sort of dwarf version of fortunei, with a lot stiffer leaves, and I quite like the look of them. They're, you know, quite small. When you see the fortunei, they tend to sort of, in the wind, sort of droop down a bit and can look a bit messy. Whereas these ones are real good for windy areas and just look good. So that's doing well. And we've got the Canariensis humilis, which is the European fan palm. Again, totally hardy. That's, I've got several along here. Another one there, another one there, another one here. So these are sort of a Mediterranean palm, so they want plenty of water in the summer, but you know, ideally a bit drier when it's cool. But they seem to survive our winters okay. So these are quite mainly strap leaves when I put them in last year, so they've obviously started to open up a bit. So they're doing well. We've got a real big Trachycarpus here. This is what I say when they look a bit messy, because the leaves get blown about in the wind and just get twisted up, and you know, they look, you know, sort of a weeping look, if you like. They look quite nice. Like this one is sort of squashed into the corner here due to the bamboo and tetrapanics. We've got another European fan palm here. This one's in a fair bit of shade, so you can see the pedicels are a little bit elongated, but I quite like the look of that. They look quite nice. Yeah, and that's been in the ground for a couple of years now. That's doing quite well. So I'd say the Trachycarpus, most of the Trachycarpus species in the Canariensis humilis are pretty much bulletproof in most of the UK. But looking at the Phoenix canariensis, this is my biggest specimen. So it has pushed out a fair few fronds this year, and you can see it's no, 8 or 9 foot maybe, and it's getting some good trunk on it. So this is not reliably hardy in most of the UK. I mean, if you're down south or the coastal region, which I'm lucky enough to be fairly close to the coastline here on the east coast, so we do get a little bit of a milder winter. And this did take a hit when we had the beast from the east a couple of years back. It did spear pull, and didn't really know what to do, whether to, hydrogen peroxide or just leave it. So in the end I just left it, and yeah, the summer after the really bad winter, that really kicked into growth. So it seemed to have put on a spurt since that spear pulled. But yeah, so that's Phoenix canariensis, or Canary Island date palm. Getting a fair decent trunk on it now. It's well over a foot wide at the base. So these do get obviously massive, so I'll have to keep this fairly neatly trimmed. I'm considering cutting this frond off just because it's coming right out. But yeah, so that's one that's a real nice, fairly fast growing palm, which not reliably hardy, but if you can give it a little bit of winter protection for the first few years and let it settle in, that'll probably do alright for you if you have slightly milder winters. Right, so another common palm you'll see, which is not necessarily reliably hardy, but I've never lost a healthy one through the winter. So this is the Washingtonia robusta. Really big fronds. This one's only just opened up, obviously, still connected at the top. So these do take a little bit of damage in the winter. You can see by that frond there's a bit of browning. So they do sort of tend to sort of brown off. Here's a good example. I cut off the points on that one, so they sort of tend to brown off or get a little bit of blotching on them. But they just grow so fast when you get the decent weather that they recover pretty quick and look good again. So yeah, I think this is probably the fastest growing palm you can grow in the UK. Like I say, not reliably hardy, but again, like the Phoenix, if you can give it a bit of protection the first year or two and just get it through that sort of younger stage, they can be harder than you think. They let's see if I can get in. So it's actually a cluster of 3. I didn't want to separate them when I potted them up. The trunk's probably about 6 to 7 inches wide. So they're getting some trunk on them. So they tend to do quite well through the summer, but like I say, will take winter damage. And probably if you're anywhere sort of Midlands or much further north than that, you probably don't stand much chance of getting through the winter without proper protection. What I would tend to do, which I've done with this one for the first couple of years, is wrap a bit of fleece around the trunk, which is obviously the heart of the palm, which is the growing point, which if you can keep that fairly dry and frost free, then you've got a good chance of getting it through the winter. So I think for the hardy palms, I mean there are a few other random things that are fairly hardy, but I'll take this for instance, the Bootia odorata. So this is a bit harder to come by, especially at the moment with the price of the plants going up. I've got there's a couple other species you can get hold of, like the area spatha, which is like the furry trunk version, which are fairly hardy. But again, this is obviously quite a small plant, which which has been in the ground a couple of years and has survived. But really, if you want something like this, is a investment. Get them slightly bigger and they'll be a bit hardier for you. Like most things, the bigger they are, the hardier they're going to be. And I'll leave it on this one. So this is the Bolivian mountain coconut. Which is fairly hardy, but I wouldn't say it's going to be 100% hardy. I know there's cases in London and a few other places, sort of maybe down south, where they survive unprotected, but this is a fairly sort of coconutty looking palm, sort of real tropical looking. So this is going to be a case of definitely going to give that some proper protection. Harder than you think. That's in the summer house, unheated all winter, so it's not the cold that's going to hurt it, it's the cold and damp. So just a matter of keeping it dry. So if I can intend to build some sort of shelter around it with some perspex or corrugated plastic or something, but I'll look into that closer to winter. So that's more of a rare one. Which I don't really want to lose. I won't say it's overly expensive. I paid £100 for off eBay, and that has pushed out some new fronds this year, so it's settled in and growing. I planted it. I was a bit early planting it out with this year with all the frost we've had, but it did take a little bit of damage on some of the older fronds. But yeah, so we'll look at that closer to winter time, and we'll see what we can do to protect that. Right, so that's just a look at some of the hardier species you can grow in the ground. I'll do another video of some of the more tropical and subtropical, which I've got in pots, which are outside for the summer, but that'll be for another video. Right, thanks for watching.